Morant is making headlines again. And I promise you, by his actions, if he doesn't get his act together, he's going to be out of the NBA within the next couple of years. He needs to start taking accountability for his actions. He needs to start hanging around individuals, true friends, and not these surface level friends who are going to hold him accountable and tell him right from wrong. It's one thing to be an NBA superstar that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and you have friends who are tough with you and who tell you right from wrong and who don't care if they hurt your feelings as long as you're staying on the right path and on the right track. They're your true friends compared to, quote unquote, your real homies who are only with you because you're a millionaire and you can make them look better and you can get them things, material things. But there's a difference between being able to buy material things compared to emotional and spiritual things and maturity that will stick with you for a lifetime. Because if he continues to do these things that he's doing, everything will be taken away from him. See, months back, he said he was rededicating his life to Christ. And that's the number one important thing. But I don't believe anyone's words if they have a history of being immature. See, I can only believe the things that you do, not so much believe the things that you say, because I was once in Ja's shoes. And of course, the extreme opposite, because he's a multimillionaire, he's an athlete, he's an NBA superstar. But as far as my maturity level and my decisions back in my early 20s, there were a lot of things that I'm not proud of, still not proud of to this day. I was just immature and hanging around people who were not a great influence on me. See, God puts you in situations to test you, right? And he will leave us to our vices until we do something that's extremely major, and he allows us to make those mistakes and have those life lessons. Because if we don't have those life lessons, we'll never truly depend on him. So in my opinion, I really feel and believe that Ja is just doing these things because he has no guidance, he has no accountability. And God is allowing him to do these things until he's at rock bottom, God forbid, until something happens, between life and death, that Ja is on the short end of things. And then if he's still alive and breathing, hopefully he will pick himself up. And another thing that I want to talk about is the fatherly example. And clearly, Ja didn't grow up in that type of lifestyle, being a thug, being a gangbanger, being in the gang, having firearms and brandishing them and waving them in the air. But where is his father during all of this? Is his father truly sitting down with him, questioning him about these decisions that he's making, questioning him about his emotions and his reasoning behind all of this? Is his father just encouraging him to do these things? I beg to differ. Although I don't know these people, I don't know his father, but as a father myself to a black boy, all the love and the admiration that I have for my son, I'm going to continuously train him up in the way that he should go. A man of integrity, a man that's God-fearing. And of course, when my son is out of the household, he's going to have to make those mistakes, right? And hopefully he learns from those mistakes. But I'm going to be his biggest advocate, and especially if he's an influence or he has a huge platform. such as Ja Morant. And especially because Ja Morant is an African American. And this just perpetuates the cycle of other people on the outside looking in saying that all black guys are this way. They can't handle anything. They're so immature. And if you give them millions and millions of dollars, they're going to squander it because history just repeats itself. And I wouldn't be surprised, if the NBA really comes down on him and they suspend him for at least 40 or 50 games. Maybe this is a way for him to wake up. So yes, the Grizzlies have currently suspended all activities that Ja can participate in. But what is Adam Silver doing, the commissioner, the NBA commissioner? What hard consequences is he coming up with at this very moment? Because you have to send him a lesson. You have to teach him a lesson. Because if the NBA does not teach Ja Morant a tough, hard lesson, then they're going to have to deal with this, for years and years to come. Because the young guys that are still in high school and in college who have not entered the NBA yet, they're going to be looking at the NBA and say, well, I can do the same things that Ja did because he didn't suffer the consequences. So I'm going to continue to hang out with my boys, brandish these guns, and I'll be able to get away with it. So the NBA has to come down on Ja Morant to set the precedent that we're not going to allow this to happen, not on our watch. And also with the sponsors such as, Nike. I believe he has a multi-million-dollar contract with Gatorade and a host of other companies. They have to set the precedent and say, okay, although Ja is a multi-millionaire, he's a talented athlete and one of the top NBA players in the league, this is our example that we're going to set, because we're not going to continuously give out millions of dollars and have him be our sponsor and him act like this and have no consequences for his actions. So I would love to know your opinion. What do you think the NBA needs to do, and what does these sponsors need to do? Does the NBA need to next year suspend him for the entire season? I believe it's 82 games. And does he need to be stripped of his sponsorship from Nike and Gatorade and whoever companies he's still with? I would love to know your opinion. And again, I believe several months ago before the season ended that he went to a counselor, I believe in the state of Florida, for 3 or 4 days. And we know that this was just a ploy, or the media's angle, or even the Memphis Grizzlies, angle to say, yes, Ja's getting the help that he needs. But of course, as a former addict myself for 20 years, it is no way that you can be in this type of lifestyle, for several years and only talk to a therapist or a counselor for a weekend or go to a retreat. It doesn't work like that. So having said all of that, I pray that Ja gets the help that he needs. I pray that his father is holding him accountable and not co-signing this destructive behavior. Because it's going to come to a point that Ja gets hurt, unfortunately, or God forbid he loses his life. So the people in his corner, his true friends and family that are not afraid to tell him right from wrong and to paint this picture for him, this dead-end road that he's traveling on, they have to step up to the plate and not care what Ja thinks of them. Because I believe, in my opinion, because he has all this money, he has these accolades, and he's one of the top NBA superstars in the world, that they are afraid of him. And he's become the parent and the guardian. And his parents, his father, are the children. They're the minors. So it feels to me that he's just manipulating the entire family, controlling the entire family. So again, let me know what you think. And at the end of the day, we all have free will. That's the gift of God. He gives us that free will. Now it's up to us as individuals, once we mature in the faith, to say, okay, I can no longer make these mistakes before. I can no longer make these mistakes that I made before, because these are the only consequences that are going to come from this. So with our free will and with the life that God has blessed us with, I encourage all of you guys that are making bad decisions now to correct your ways. Allow the Holy Spirit to really enter your life and allow God to become the Lord and the ruler over your life. Not saying that you'll be perfect, but once you grow and mature, your relationships and your choices will be that much better. So again, let me know what you guys think. You know, it's interesting to see what the NBA will do as far as the upcoming suspension, or will they not do anything really? Will they only suspend him from the current activities of just the team and not the NBA as a whole? So again, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks again for your support. Always strive to remain set apart. Take care.